The purpose of this video is to show you how to run a linear regression to get the equation for the line of best fit, as well as the R value, the correlation coefficient, to determine how strong the correlation is between your two variables. The first thing you'll want to do in order to be able to see the R value, the correlation coefficient, is to make sure that your diagnostics are turned on your calculator. So before doing anything else, you'll want to go down into your catalog, press second and the 0 button. Here, all the commands on the calculator are listed in alphabetical order. You can either scroll down until you see the command diagnostic on, or you can get there quicker by pressing this green alpha button and select D. And I tend to have to do this twice here. So I hit alpha D. It takes me to the D section in the catalog, from which I scroll down until I see the command diagnostic on. When you have that selected, you're going to press enter, and then you will press enter again. And now that the diagnostics are turned on, you should see the R value, the correlation coefficient, anytime you run a linear regression. Okay. When you run a linear regression, you need to start by making sure your data is placed in L1 and L2. You do that by pressing the black stat key. You will select number 1 for edit, and you will input the X values in L1 followed by the Y coordinates into L2. Should you need to erase old data in order to input new data, you erase what's in the list by moving the cursor on top of L1, pressing the clear button followed by the down arrow, and that will erase the column and allow you to input new data. Okay, I already have data in L1 and L2. Presumably what you would do before you run the regression is you would go into your stat plot, you would select plot 1, you would turn on your scatter plot, and then you would adjust your window to the data so that you could see the scatter plot. Okay, we are looking now for running a linear regression to give us the equation for the line of best fit that goes through this scatter plot. Okay, what we would do is you're going to press the black stat key, only this time you're going to bump over to this middle menu, the calculate menu. Okay, starting with option 4 and all the way underneath there are all different types of regressions you can run. In chapter 2, we focus on linear regressions only. So you will come down and select option 4 for linear regression. If you have an older calculator, the TI-83s, your screen will now look different, and I can just verbally talk you through what you will need to do. If your calculator screen looks as mine does now, you'll just need to confirm a few things here. Make sure that your X values have an L1 across from it and that your Y list has L2 across from it. You're going to leave the frequency list blank, and you're going to come down here with your cursor across from store regression equation. Okay. Now I'll give you the instructions here in just one moment. If you have the older calculator, you will need to type the L1 next. So you're going to hit second L1 followed by a comma, and then second L2 followed by a comma. Okay. So you should have L1, comma, L2, comma, and what you're going to put after that second comma is the variable Y1, which is what we want right here where my cursor is if your calculator looks like this. We want the calculator not to just give us the equation for the line of best fit, but we want it to store that equation into the Y1 feature on our calculator. To get the Y1 variable here, you're going to press this black button, vars, which is short for variables. We are looking for the Y variable Y1. You're going to bump to this right menu, short for Y variables. We are working with functions. You're going to press 1 for function, and then you will see that option number 1 is the variable Y1. Okay. Whether you have the new calculator or the old calculator, you at this point now can come down and press enter. The calculator will then give you the generic form for a linear equation. It uses an A instead of an M for the slope. It will give you the values for A and B. You should just round those each to 2 places, and you can write the equation y equals 0.44x plus 2.44. Okay, you do not need to worry about the R squared value. That is something that is covered in AP statistics. But you can look at the bottom. Here is your correlation coefficient. which has roughly a value